joined this evening for a special talk back, Congressman Bob Latta.
Thanks so much.
You have been traveling around your district. I want to ask you, now that you've talked to so many people, you're back from Washington, you're back here in the area, what are people telling you when it comes to health care?
They didn't want this bill passed. They still are almost, you might say, in shock. They said, we thought the American people said we didn't want this. And they say, now we're stuck with it, and now what are we going to do? And so I've heard it from, folks that work in factories, I've heard it from farmers, I've heard it from businessmen. Everybody's saying the same thing. They just can't believe that this piece of legislation got passed.
Okay, and you didn't vote for it, so what do you say to them? I mean, you're kind of backed into a corner there.
Well, I tell you what we're telling everybody is this, that, elections have consequences, and we've got an election coming up here in about 7 months. And if people want to see changes out of this bill, one of the things we'd love to see is to say repeal and replace. Let's replace it with something that's what the people wanted to begin with. Not 2,700-page bills that the Speaker of the House, of course, as we talked before, said that, we're going to have to pass this bill so we actually know what's in it. Yeah. And now that's what we're finding out. People are actually finding out the consequences. And so, businesses are worried because they look at, the Caterpillars and the John Deeres out there and the AT&Ts that are saying, we're going to have to put all this money aside now, and it's really going to affect our bottom line. And they're saying in Washington, especially the Democrats that put this thing together, well, wait a minute, how can you be doing this? Because it's like, well, this bill's got consequences, and you didn't bring these people into the table to talk to them.
So how realistic is repealing the bill?
Well, I think it comes down to this. We have to get a majority in the House. We're down 40 seats, and that's, I think it's very attainable that we can pick up 40 seats this time. But
do you think there's that much? I know people are upset now. I know people were upset 2 weeks ago. But come November, do you think people really will be that upset to really offset the balance?
Well, I think so, because it's just not going to be health care. Well, the biggest issue that really people are talking about now is the federal debt and the deficit. And they're looking at this thing growing to over $20 trillion.
Something you've really watched for quite a while now.
And I'm a fiscal conservative and a hawk when it comes to those things. And when you look at these numbers, so it's health care, you're looking at the debt and the deficit, and you're looking at jobs. Those are, but really the top two issues out there right now, it's that debt and it's also jobs. And those are the things that kind of got pushed aside because, when people look at health care, they say, how are we going to pay for it?
Right.
And that's a big issue out there.
And that's where the debt continues there. Right. So do you think going forward, do you think it will be jobs? Do you think it will be the debt? Will it be a combination? What do you think the agenda turns to now?
I think it's going to be, you're going to be looking at jobs, and I just hope that they don't bring back this cap and tax, cap and trade legislation that passed out of the House that's over in the Senate right now. Because, that's another killer. It will kill the economy for us if that thing gets passed, because it's the largest energy tax ever in American history if that gets through. But I think what you're going to be seeing is it's on this, the jobs is going to come screaming back in the middle of the summer. Why is that? You're going to have over 750,000 census takers unemployed.
Yeah, sure.
And so when the president said last week, oh, look, we had 164,000 jobs created, a third of those being census takers.
And that'll be over.
It's going to be going up, up, and up. And when those people get released, and all of a sudden, over the past weekend, then you had all the president's little folks out there running around to all the news things saying, well, it's not going to be quite as good as we think it might be, and we can't get too excited about it. That's why. Right. Because it's all going to come back real quick.
All right. It'll be a busy summer into the fall there, Congressman.
Absolutely.
We appreciate your time, and that is your Talk Back.